everyone. Hello, and welcome back to the Poet Speaks podcast, the #1 spoken word poetry podcast in the world. Our next guest is a spoken word artist, a voice actor, a social worker, a public presentation trainer, and in many ways. She was a finalist for the UBA Africa Poetry Day contest in 2018, nominated for the Illustrious African Writers Awards as Outstanding Spoken Word Artist of the Year by BEWA Africa in 2021, was a nominee for the 2023 APVA Awards Spoken Word category, and a finalist for the Vweta Chadwick 2023 Poetry Prize. Now, when she isn't performing or creating soul-stirring poetry, she's taking care of street children through organization Street Mentors Network. Everyone, welcome to the podcast, Miss Neeta Rare. Neeta, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Amanda. It's really beautiful to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. After some intense planning, coordinating by a mutual friend of ours, I'm so glad that we were finally able to get on the same time zone to record a special episode. So tell us, where are you at currently in the world right now?
I'm currently in Uyo. I'm in a city called Uyo in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. It's in the South.
Absolutely. In the South. Okay. We'll get into that, what the South in Nigeria means. It means something different in the United States when you say in the South. So tell us where.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us, where did you're born, raised, bred in Nigeria, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your childhood in Nigeria. We have listeners from all across the world. We really want to know, what is a little girl growing up in Nigeria? What is that like? What part of Nigeria? And how did that influence your writing poetry?
Okay. Growing up in Nigeria was, I think, a pretty normal experience. My experience as a child, I would say it's more, when I remember my childhood, I think it's more endogenous than, extragenous. I feel like it's more of family and the things I was exposed to while growing up. So yeah, usual, you have a mom, you have a dad, you have siblings. I'm the first child, by the way. So I have siblings, and it was pretty regular. You'd go to school, you would come back, change from your schoolwear, have siesta. My mom was always very particular. Nigerian moms are very particular about their children having siesta, having a nap. We call it siesta here, but you guys call it a nap in the afternoon after school. So you have to do that. That's like the prerequisite for you to see a movie or play afterwards. But you have to do your homework, just play outside, run around. For me, my family, we weren't very we didn't used to play with the neighbors a lot. So it was just majorly my sisters and maybe the neighbors that were really close to us, like the opposite neighbors. And we used to go out on Sundays a lot. We'd visit family friends, go to the park, play, eat ice cream at the circus, and those kind of things. That's what my childhood was like. Yeah, I was interested in art from childhood anyway. Talking about how that has influenced my writing and my poetry, I began writing poetry from the age of, I think, 9 or 10. And my first poem was about what we called a pole. We call it a pole here, but it's like a loo where a child uses to go to toilet. And I called it my sister's. It was a poem about my sister's my sister's loo. And first, that is absolutely hilarious and silly. But that's the thing about being a child. There's no hinges to your creativity. You can do anything you want, and there's no stopping you. So growing up in Nigeria, I think, has influenced my writing and my poetry, because I believe that artists, poets, are we mirror the society. Whatever the society that we live in is like, we show back society to itself. So my poems revolve around the standards of the beauty, the standards of femininity, womanhood, social injustice, the political scene, the economy, and everything really that is my social reality.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious too, with the social reality aspect of your poems. Your first poem was about your sister using the bathroom, basically using the loo. I'm curious, you say you're the firstborn daughter. Did you have, I know in my circle of friends that are both Nigerian, some Ghanaian, we talk about firstborn daughter syndrome in a lot of African households. Did you grow up with that? Does that ring a bell? Firstborn daughter syndrome?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting you correctly, you're actually talking about something like first child, your sisters are looking up to you. Why are you
Mm-hmm.
behaving this way? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about?
yes, yes.
Good. I grew up with that a lot, and I have no, I still have it. I can't even get away with things unless and I think that's first daughter syndrome, first child syndrome made me a breakaway child. It
Mm-hmm.
made me independent minded because I was constantly told to be a particular kind of way. I was constantly held to expectations that were higher than me, and I was just I'm a child. Why are you expecting so much from me just because I have this position? So it made me begin to break away to show my family early on that I have my own, I have the life I want to live, and I'm not going to always be able to live up to your expectations. So yeah, I got that a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that has such an effect on us even later in life. So I definitely appreciate you speaking about all those trials and tribulations through your poetry. Now let's move on. I'm curious, what is the spoken word poetry scene like in Nigeria from when you were a child to now? I mean, is it very popular? Is poetry something people really do fixate on? Is it popular with the youth? What's the scene like in Nigeria?
Okay, spoken word poetry is not yet mainstream in Nigeria, right? So I'm saying that because as a poet, I have hands-on experience in the field of my work. So you get to we have artists who have paved the way for us, people like Dike Chukwuemerije, we have Cristiano and where we have Titilope Shonuga and the likes of them that that began to do this. And in Nigeria, we do not call it in its early evolution, we did not call it spoken word. I mean, every tribe indigenously has a thing for spoken poetry, right? It's the art of oratory, the art of being able to chant proverbs and all of that. In my language, you call it uto. I'm a BBO, so we call it uto. So we do not know it like spoken word, spoken word. So spoken word in Nigeria, I wouldn't say it's mainstream. We actually have a lot of budding artists and people that are doing so well for themselves, but it is not totally, it has not gained the level of ascendance and popularity and hasn't gone fully mainstream. So it's still a very there's still a lot of potential in that market. It's a market that really, really needs to be looked into. But the talent in Nigeria are absolutely amazing. Nigerians are not anywhere in spoken word poetry. Never mind where they're coming from, doesn't matter.
Absolutely. I'm curious too with the rise of Afro beats. Afro beats is now at the Grammys in the USA. I mean, it's really Afro beats has really taken a hold. A lot of mainstream artists like Selena Gomez are jumping on Afro beat songs, Ed Sheeran, so it's definitely Afro beats has a lot, it's really taken a rise all over the world and all over the globe. I'm curious, does that correlate back to the poetry aspect, the spoken word aspect in Nigeria currently with the climate of the music rising?
Mm.
Has that correlated back with the poetry? So spoken word now is starting to bubble up too?
Okay. Yeah, I would say so because I mean before our ancestors like Kuti, Fela began to push for Afro beats. It was not really a thing in any part of the world. It was not really a thing. It was there, but I think there's just this wave that's Nigeria just put on it and pushed it out there, and it just went global. It took a matter of time, but it went global. And I think the same thing is happening gradually. It's like embers,
Mm.
it's just on the surface. It's glowing. You can see that this is gathering heat and momentum, and it's going to break out sometime soon. So I think that in terms of correlation, I would say art itself. there's something about African art. There's just something about African art. I think we pour our soul, we pour our stories, we pour our history into whatever it is that we do. Even when we do not intend to do it consciously, it comes from a place of the subconscious in our roots, in our bearing. And so it just finds its way to the fore. So a Nigerian typically appears in a place and everything about him is screaming, I'm not from here. I'm not from here. I'm different. There's something about me. You've got to notice me. So I think that is the flavor that carries itself into the art space too as well. So poetry, Afrobeat, yeah, still there.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Yeah, I think us Nigerians, it's you pour the heart and soul of Nigeria to the world. So no, I think that that is undeniable. The force is there. And then you know what, with people like you, I mean, you are so well decorated in terms of what you've been able to do with spoken word. Tell me a little bit
Thank
about
you.
tell me a little bit about your professional career in writing and poetry. You have so many notable mentions, distinctions, 2023 awards, spoken word categories. What has it been like, and what's the reception been for you and your spoken word poetry, not only in Nigeria but also all globally now?
I didn't get the last question you asked. Could you go over that again?
Yeah, no problem. Tell me, what has been the reception you've received in terms of your spoken word, career, not only from what I see, not only in Nigeria, but also it seems all over Africa and via other
Mm.
global countries as well. What's been the reception for you?
Well, the reception has actually been more amazing than I thought it would be. I have listeners from the UK, I have listeners from the US, I have listeners from Germany, I have listeners from Australia, I have listeners from different parts of the world, I have listeners from South Africa, right? And I'm here in Nigeria doing my thing. And these people are really interested. And I think it says a lot about the artist who is producing the art as well. So the reception that I have had has always been one of wonder because it's like bringing something people have maybe stumbled across before and you're presenting it in a way that they have never seen it before. And they're like, wow, they're just awestruck and they just want to keep listening. So the reception has been very, very, very warm. And like my name is Neeta Rare, right? So I always strive to bring this element of rarity in whatever I do. I mean, it shows across in the works that I do. When you look back at my pedigree and the things that I have done, like last year I won the African Day Poetry Award for Afreximbank. On the theme was actually Swahili. I do not speak Swahili. It was Utukufu wa Africa, right? Talked about the glory of Africa. I've never been to South Africa and the likes, but I had to go research. I had to go learn a bit about their language and culture to be able to infuse that. So, of course, the reception is when you put in that kind of work and excellence and unhinged creativity, it goes a long way.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about kind of your what is your inspiration? How's it changed from being a child, from being a girl to a woman? How has your inspiration changed for your writing? I'm always intrigued, especially with us as women, how our seasons are so different, seasons in our life, and that definitely affects us as artists. How would you say that you've changed from girlhood to womanhood in terms of your writing and your poetry and just aligning those things? Would you say there's been a distinct change for you?
I would say yes. I would say yes because your question is I'm just having this lines of memory just running across my brain listening to your question right now. And you're right, we do have seasons and the seasons are always usually so distinct, but they find a way to correlate to each other. So for me, as a child, I think my writing was more of questions. I always wondered about the world. I still have that inner child, and she still wonders about the world and wonders about why people behave the way they do, why things are the way they are in society. But I have grown from from a place of not knowing to a place of understanding the dynamics behind, how things work and how things function. And as a woman, I have discovered that my personality, I am vocal. I'm actually very vocal about things, and I'm very articulate about things. It comes from a place of, as a child, I was extremely curious. I was so curious that my mom would always send me away to my dad when I ask her questions. She'd be like, go to your dad and ask him, leave me alone. So that child who was curious has understood so much in different areas of life and aspects of life. And putting this together, I'm able to, because of my personality, which is I'm vocal and very I'm very assertive. I don't know how to hold back. I'm very expressive. That's the word. Very, very expressive as a person. So and seeing how that society somehow, there are just imbalances in society. We do not live this. I do not think that there's any egalitarian society out there. I haven't come across any yet, in books, in movies, in real life, right? But there are still these imbalances that need to be addressed. And it falls back to the artist to do that. And what has really helped me is I'm expressive, I'm vocal, I do not like imbalance or injustice or those kind of things. So I always find myself coming from that angle to address societal issues. And being a woman, since we are more in tune, I don't like to say that women are emotional. I like to say that women are more in tune with their emotions. They have fully understood what it means to have emotions as a human being. They're not afraid of it. They process it. They know how to put it out there and how to regulate it. And that's what works for me. So I'm able to contain all of these things together and apply them to my art. And it makes it really irresistible and appealing.
And rare. I mean, I love that. Absolutely rare and irresistible and appealing. Yeah, I think the seasons in which we go through as women, from girl to woman to, those different changes in life. And I like that a lot. We're not emotional, we're in tune. I like that. That's so true. Understanding the whole depth of who we are as human beings is really, and it really is a lifelong thing too. And I'm always intrigued on how other artists kind of interpret that as, we go through our lives. So no, I love that maturation process. So tell me a little bit about too, again, you've had so many distinct achievements. I want to know, for you, what advice do you give to folks out there that are, they listen to this podcast? A question I get a lot is, how do I take just from my writing at home, how do I take that into a career? A lot of people are wondering, how do you make the arts, especially something as niche as poetry, how do you turn that into a career? For you, you've been able to do it very successfully and well, you're very well known. What is your advice to folks that are out there that are just, poets in the closet, poets that are just writing at home, poets that are in school? How, I think there's really no plan, no formula that we give a lot of these folks out here, young, old, whatever it may be, to really take the next step to become professional. For you, what is the advice that you would give folks?
Okay, so I think that in responding to your question, in asking the question, you also answer the question. There is no formula. There is no formula.
Okay.
There are just things along the way that you learn. For me, I learned a lot on the job. I learned a lot on my way. I always like to, I like to read, I like to find to suit, to be spoke to my unique experiences. So I would like to say, yeah, I learned a lot along the way. So there's no unique formula, but the first thing, or one of the first things that a poet, an artist needs to recognize is that their experience is worth sharing. There's a place for you. There's a place for the value that you bring to the world. The beauty that you bring to the world is needed in the world. It may not come in the form, may not be accepted in the form that you think you want to push it out. That's another place you also need to realize that you are like water. You don't really have a shape. You are able to flow into different spaces. You are able to flow past challenges, past the rocks and obstacles in your way. You are able to take any form at all. You are that versatile. You're that able to transform. You're that fluid. So as a spoken word artist, as a poet, I can become a storyteller for brands, right? I can use my work to work with influential brands or small businesses or MSMEs, right? I can be a storyteller for these people. I can also work I can also help to create commercials. I can work in the advertorial communication industry, right? The storyteller, a brand developer. I can also work in the digital marketing space because the thing about artists are creatives. There's no limit to the ideas that come to us. So an idea comes to you, it's like a clay, a lump of clay. It is in your place to pull out legs, pull out hands, pull out a head, pull out a tail if it's needed, eyes, everything. But it never stops coming to you. There's no formula. I tell you the truth. There's no formula. I mean, I tell you my truth. I don't think that there is a formula. You can have mentors, advisors, you can have peer group inspiring you, contemporaries, but to look for that one blueprint to follow to get to a particular destination, you have to figure out things on your own. And that's what makes the journey exciting.
Absolutely. I think that climb, I love your analogy of like clay, you know, we're able to pull out certain things, you know, like the shape becoming like water, becoming that flexible, whatever shape and form, that's truly an artist's job. I completely agree with you. There's no blueprint for this whole thing. I mean, plans are made, plans are broken every single day. You have one idea of what your career is going to look like the next month, not even the next month, the next day, that has taken a complete U-turn. And now you are going down a different path, but there are many paths to the same destination. So I validate and love what you're saying, Neeta. Now, I want to shift gears now. Tell me, was there a specific moment where you knew you were a writer? Maybe in childhood, adult, whatever may have you. You were just walking down the street. You made that poem about your sister using the loo. When was the moment that you knew, hey, I'm a writer?
Okay. Okay. So I would like to do a throwback on myself. I always love to share the story about me. I was a late bloomer. I bloomed late. I didn't learn how to read or write until I had finished primary school. And I was really frustrated, and the people who were teaching me were also frustrated. They didn't know better. They didn't know how to help me or how to attend to my specific needs, right? So and then I began to learn alphabet. I began to understand alphabet. I began to understand how to string a group of words together to make sense. And it was interesting for me. See, I'm a person who likes to discover how things work. I like to figure things out. I like to understand how things work. So I guess that's what makes me a learner. I am constantly, daily learning because I always want to know why and how things work. So I understood that, when I understood how alphabets worked, I understood how to put words together, I began to read. And in reading, I began to want to express myself too, because as a child, I stammered as a child. I stuttered. I think it was really from the frustration and tension in my environment. As per, I bloomed late, and everybody just wanted to see me be brilliant, be intelligent, and go to school and succeed and get good grades. So it was a lot of tension, and it made me have a stutter. So writing was what I resorted to in expressing myself, and I wrote everything I ever thought about. I think those were my formative times. And for everything that I wrote, I found some kind of relief. I felt like there was somebody listening to me, even if the person was just my jotter or my diary.
Wow, wow, wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, wow. That's I myself, I can actually correlate. I didn't learn to read until I was 7 years old, and I actually didn't start
Mm.
speaking until I was 4. So I was definitely a late bloomer as well. So I feel that cognitive recognizing, cognitive recognition, whatever that psychological term is. I definitely feel you on that one. Now, thank you so much for sharing that, Neeta. Now, as we are closing out pretty soon here, before we go, I really want to talk about, besides being an amazing spoken word poet, besides being a beacon of words and rhetoric and a distinguished winner of many prizes, you are also you also have an organization called the Street Mentors Network. Tell us a little bit about your work with that.
Okay, so the Street Mentors Network was founded in 2021. I'm big on inspiration. I always key into the inspirational moments in my life. I was coming out of school on this rainy day and I saw this boy in the streets and he needed help and it was raining and there was nobody. So I went to him, and that is basically the story of Street Mentors Network. So we go out on the streets, we take care of street children. We try to align with at least 5 of the SDGs for the SDG 2030, no hunger, zero poverty, in spaces of employment and well-being and all of that. So we take care of them, we feed them, we bring them in because we have a shelter them sometimes, and then we give what is called alternate education to these children. And then we reach out to partners that we feel would love to make a difference or support us in making a difference in the lives of these children. And then we partner with them to see how we can give them an education, a place to stay, learn vocational skills. And that is basically what we do. We're currently running an upskill program for these children. And our goal is that, okay, at least by the end of the year, at least 100 children will be off the streets with vocational skills and in school. So yeah, that's a bit about Street Mentors Network. You can also find us on social media. Such as out and you find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and the likes.
That's amazing work, and congratulations to you. And I'm very proud of the fact that you're doing that work, especially in Nigeria. So big ups to you. Thank you for doing that amazing work. All right, Neeta, last question. We ask everyone on the Poet Speaks podcast this question. Tell us, why do you need to get your words out?
I need to get my words out because there's something that my words can do that nobody else's words can do. And if I don't get my words out, the people that need to receive my words, the actions that are waiting on my words to be spoken, the activities that are waiting on my words to kickstart, the purpose that are waiting to be put into motion will not be done or will be delayed if I do not put my words out. That is what motivates me to do the things that I do. Somebody needs to hear me.
Absolutely. Love that someone needs to hear her. All right, Neeta, we really appreciate your time today on the Poet Speaks podcast. Now, before we go, tell us, where can we find all of your amazing work? Any socials, all your media handles, websites? Please tell us where folks can find you.
All right, so you can find me on YouTube. I am Neeta Rare on YouTube. Simply just search for Neeta Rare. My channel is filled with a lot of artistic goodies and beautiful things for you. You can find me on Facebook. I'm also Neeta Rare on Facebook, Neeta Rare Michael on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram as Neeta Rare as well. You can also find me on TikTok as Neeta Rare as well. You can find me on LinkedIn as Neeta Rare as well. And my works are on Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, Boomplay, and every other platform that streams artist works. So you just search for me, search for my name, and my works will pop up, and you can have a good time listening to them.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Neeta's information on her socials will be down in the description, no matter what the streaming service you're listening to on. All Neeta's socials, all her information will be down in the description box below. All right, Neeta, thank you so much for being a guest today on the Poet Speaks podcast.
Thank you for having me, Amanda. It was really a delight.
Absolutely. And everyone, go ahead, check out all of Neeta's amazing work and check out the Poet Speaks podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Remember, we're the #1 spoken word poetry podcast in the world. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.